Hi, I'm Chris Ball from Mashpee TV, here with another Mashpee update. With me today is Chad Smith, Chairman of the Mashpee Sewer Commission. Chad, recently and unfortunately and tragically, we lost Ray Jack, the intern town engineer. Totally unexpected. Ray was a great person, a great guy. Every time I saw him, he was always smiling and talking and always willing to give you great information and explain things in terms that you could understand. And Ray was instrumental in moving forward this sewer and wastewater project that's been going on for 20 years. Obviously, this is a big drawback to where we were going with this. It's a big loss to the town, to his family, and everybody else that knew Ray. But, speaking in regards to the wastewater and the sewer treatment plant, what's the town's plan B at this point? How are we going to go forward without Ray?
It's a loaded and great question, Chris. Ray was irreplaceable. Raymond Jack had the ability to communicate complex subject matter to the rest of us. I'm not a civil engineer. Chances are most people viewing are not civil engineers, but he could explain it. And that was the biggest thing that Ray did and brought to this town besides managing the project. The short answer to Chris's question is we're not going to fall behind. I am extremely, as the chairman of the Sewer Commission, I am supported by an excellent commission. I have a wonderful vice chair, Meredith Harris, and my commissioners have taken it upon themselves to outreach to the community, to improve the website, and the biggest high five I have to give is to the town manager's office. With all of their free time, Steph, Terry, Rodney, as well as the efforts that they have made to support us were immediate. It was just such an outpouring of support that at the same time as we lost Ray Jack, we had a lot of citizens, rightfully so, pushing for us to apply for state revolving funds this year. And that wasn't part of the plan. Ray Jack's plan for Phase 1 is fully planned. It's underway, and it is just a touch ahead of schedule. So that plan will continue for the next year. But because of this support, we are going to be able to apply for state revolving funds this year, which will kick up the timetable about 6 months.
So, from my observations, because we go and we film a lot of the meetings or send them out live broadcasts, not only was Ray keeping things ahead of schedule, and he had a lot of experience with some of the contractors that we're using, but he was also able to keep us on a budget, so it seemed, and we were handling that. Who's watching that now?
Again, that is the town manager's office, as well as your sewer commission. For the foreseeable future, which will be, I can't give a timetable on when we find someone to actually fulfill Ray's role, we are looking at this from a perspective of fiscal responsibility. We need to make sure each of our contractors are staying on budget, to make sure all of our supplies, equipment, raw materials are getting laid properly and coming to this project. And we've set up a system of oversight using multiple companies, ourselves, and our town hall to make sure that Phase 1 stays on track.
Now, we have a few different contractors involved in different aspects of the projects. Robert B. Hour, a couple of others that how are they feeling about this?
They're feeling, I think, optimistic. We all feel the loss of Ray Jack. I can tell you that this has really added to Wayne Taylor's workload. because he is the authority that is looking at the invoices that come in and matching them up to the work that's been done. Phase one, again, we're so very lucky to have this plan that Ray Jack and the Sewer Commission put in progress, was approved by the Select Board, and have it underway. I can say that the loss of Ray Jack is devastating, but had it happened when this was being planned, before we broke ground last fall, it would have delayed the project, absolutely. We have his final vision for phase one that was voted on and approved to work on right now. And I'm confident that in the time we've allotted for phase one to be completed, which it should be known, phase one is mostly the plan. There's only just under 500 homes being sewered at this point in phase one. We chose to spend the money on the plant because to come back later and re-excavate and improve it would cost the town more money.
So this application for the revolving fund, that is for what?
That's for phase two. And phase two will be a bit of a combination of things that we've had up to date. We have a pretty well-approved plan that was approved in 2015. That plan is a 10,000-foot, 10% engineered view of what should happen. For us, the job now is to pick what needs to happen first. And for me as the sewer chairman, that's a function of proximity to the Mashpee River, to other water resources, and the amount of effluent that's going into the environment. We take the amount of money we can sustain, and this is a big issue. You know, if we could snap our fingers and do a $200 million project without burdening the town, yeah, we'd do it. But the problem is that we have to, at a time when inflation and the economy is rough, we need to digest, if you'll forgive the pun, this in bite-sized amounts. So the size of phase one is what I've instructed our town planner, what I've talked to our town manager about to try and target that size for phase two as a template. And if we can bite this off in those amounts and keep it rolling forward, keep making progress, and not make an undue tax burden to the town, we will. It's going to cost money, and it has to come from somewhere. And we have to do it. If you've seen the Mashpee River recently, if you walked Mashpee River woodlands, I'm not kidding when you could almost walk on the algae out across the river. We've seen the New York Times article about it, and we've seen some pretty convincing drone footage. The Mashpee River is like a very unhealthy person's blood work. There's just too much nutrients in the river to sustain life that would consume said nutrients. So we need to clean it up really badly. And part of that necessity is fiscal responsibility. We can't just go and attack this in a massive project that would raise everyone's taxes to a point where it hurts. But we do have to do it. And it's our responsibility as your commissioners to find the best path forward.
So this revolving fund application that's due in August goes to phase B, or phase two.
Mm-hmm.
And does there have to be a solid plan in place to apply, or is it still open-ended at that point?
We have a solid plan that outlines what we're looking to do. It's not the full engineered plan. That costs money. And the commissioners who've come before me and our town manager's office has very smartly spent a small amount of money to outline what we should do instead of spending a bunch of money a long time before we do it. Because project engineering changes cost money, and sometimes the project just gets changed because we learn new information. So we have what we need to apply for the funds for next year. These funds would come available next year. We are well prepared to attain these funds and present what we've designed. The bigger issue would be if we didn't have our things together, didn't have a good plan, and applied anyway. Because I could see us getting problems later if they took us as not taking this seriously. So I'm confident that what we have is enough, and the town manager's office, as well as the sewer commission, supported by the select board, is going to get this done.
Okay. Good information. So, just to recap that, so we're applying now in 23 for funds that would become available in 24?
Yes, sir.
And when will we start phase 2?
I can't intelligently say. You know, it'll be when
phase 1 is done?
Well, we have to bid the project. We have to go through all the proper checks and balances. I know that we do have I personally am very satisfied with the contractors we've hired. Their response, again, in the wake of Mr. Jack, has been extraordinary. Basically, we're in phase 1. We're building phase 1. It's under construction. You will see a green stake if you haven't already, and that is the point where you don't need to panic. A green stake will be placed in front of your property when the time comes for you to find a contractor, and I recommend you find multiple. This town has a list of contractors which can do the sewer connection. This is the connection from your home to the sewer system. And what the green stake is about is a potential location for the connection to that system. And your responsibility as a homeowner, when you see that green stake put in your yard, is to call a contractor. There are multiple, and again, we have a list. We can't, as town officials, we can't tell you a contractor to go to. That would be unethical. However, you can choose from that list. I, again, recommend you get multiple. And you can also coordinate with your neighbors for savings. So if you have Chris Ball Contracting come to your neighborhood and you have 5, 10 neighbors and they can do the work in one time period, there's a cost savings to that. And what we mean by work is, again, the connection of your house to the sewer line. There is currently a 90-day period, not from when the stake's placed, but from when you get a notification from the town that you will need to pull the trigger on this and get moving. However, this is not a set draconian law. I mean, it's bad enough all of us are getting letters from the town saying we have to spend money and we don't get a choice in the matter. That is, well, Chris told me I can't swear, but it's unpleasant. But it needs to be done. I can assure you that as long as the commissioners that are before you are in charge of this project, this will not be a burden on your household to an undue extent. If contractors are all booked up and you need to wait more time, there will be extensions. But to get this project going, we do have to connect the homes. And the effluent from the homes need to flow to the waste treatment plant in order for the system to get moving. So there are things that have to be done. But we will do our very best to make sure that the burden is mitigated and that homes are well prepared for this project to advance.
So, we did a segment on the green stake that's out there. And the understanding
That was good.
You know, what people really need to understand is what you just said is that green stake goes into place in your yard. At this time, you don't have to commit to a contractor, but you need to get advice from a contractor, either for a nominal fee or for no charge. Come out and say, this is the best place for you to hook into the main. This is where your lateral will come out of the main and to your house. You cannot move that yourself, is my understanding. You need the advice of a contractor.
You can move it yourself, I just wouldn't advise it. The stake itself is, again, marking where the connection to the sewer pipe will go. And essentially, for you to be able to have an efficient connection that saves you money and doesn't have an undue burden, there also might be situations where you have hardscaping, you have money you've spent, and you don't want to tear up a certain part of your yard. There also might be a situation where you may need to take Title V piping that exits the back of your house and put it out the front of your house. Every home is completely unique and different. This is one of the biggest challenges we have as a commission, because people come to us and they say, well, how much is this going to cost? And the honest answer is, I don't know. Depends on your home. Depends on your house. Depends on your distance from the road. So every answer is unique. That's why we can't, as you're probably used to government doing, can't give you a straight answer on how much it's going to cost you. We recommend that you give, and when I say we, I mean the commission, sewer commission, you engage a contractor when the green stake is put in your yard by the company doing the construction, and then decide, get their advice on where the most effective and efficient position based on your landscaping and your lot would be for the sewer connection. Once the road's paved and repaved, and what's been dug up for piping for the main communication lines of the wastewater are paved over, that time has passed. They've put the connection where the stake is, and it's done. So this shouldn't be something to cause panic. When you see the stake, call a contractor, call 3 contractors, make your own decision, and get their advice on where it should be put.
All right. So that's only at this point for phase 1, as we've said. All right. So some great information, Chad. Once again, it sounds like the town, the commission are moving forward. Not covering for Ray's loss. Nothing can cover for that, but
No, we can't.
we're not going to fall behind, I guess is the right way to say. Anything else you'd like to say in conclusion?
Yes, Chris. Mashpee, you were really fortunate. You have an outstanding select board supported by an outstanding town manager. Rodney, Wayne, and Steph and Terry have your back in this. They've supported us as a commission, and the loss of Ray Jack, there's nothing I can say to make that any better. But the actions of our town, and not just our town government, but our commissioners, our paper, our contractors, have been immediate and outstanding. I'd like to thank everybody who has had a role in stepping up and taking care of this town's business. We're in the middle of a very large project, and I have full confidence that it is not going to go sideways. We're getting it done.
That's great to hear, Chad. Thank you very much for coming in today and sharing this information.
Thank you, Chris.
And, from Chris Ball, Mashpee TV, and the Mashpee Update, have a great day.